the Evolution Security Podcast.
Welcome, everybody. This is the EvoSec podcast. This is Aaron Davis, and I've got my twin brother on, Eric Davis. Man, what have you been up to this week, brother?
You know, it's kind of been a little bit of a long week at work, but man, I've also been getting a lot of good training in. Got some good jiu-jitsu in and a couple of good workouts. Got some good reading in and just enjoying the time with the wife and dog. So, yeah, I did have a long week, but I'm putting in some good downtime as well. How about you, man?
Man, if anyone's watching this, we're tweaking with some video here, you know, and I'm trying a new way. I have my microphone set up just to be frank, see how this sounds. But I actually have a patch on my eye like a pirate.
Arr.
I had my first surgery for removing a cataract from my left eye, and I get my next one done next Monday. I'm really looking forward to it because it's pretty amazing how in less than 24 hours I was seeing 20/20 through my left eye. And I mean, I haven't seen like this, you know, forever, you know, and then it showed me how yellow tinted my vision was because I can go back and forth between both eyes, and it's like my left eye is really, really blue. And but man, I'm real excited to see how the next one turns out and how much better I can see all around, and then see how it does for my shooting. So far, I mean, I can see my dots amazing. I can now see a dot instead of a, you know, ragged little ball of grapes, you know, from you know, what you see when you have astigmatism, which is awesome. But man, the only thing I'm a little bit concerned about right now, my vision doesn't get real clear until about 2.5 to 3 feet. Now, anyone that may be familiar with how cataract surgery goes, and even if you have your vision corrected, which a lot of people don't for some reason, because, you know, insurance doesn't pay for it, but they just pay to correct your cataracts. But one thing is, especially if you get just a normal monofocal lens, which is the most common, your vision is actually focused at distance. So you'll never have really good vision up close. So like right now, I have to wear glasses to run this computer. But back to the vision up front, I'm hoping it clears up enough to where I can see my irons. But man, it may be that I can't run irons anymore. So I already looked into having my 42 milled for a Holosun 507K, and it looks like, I'm crossing my fingers, I'm just waiting on an email to get back from Jagerworks or Jagerworks that did our slides before and did such a great job, Eric.
Great job, yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping, I mean, I just don't, when I see it on their site, I just want to make sure I was checking the right boxes because it sure looked like they did milling for both the 42 and the 44. You know, the 22 caliber one. So, man, I'm going to hold out and wait and see if I can see my irons well enough to shoot. But right now, if it stayed the way it is, it would be irresponsible to rely on iron sights. So,
well, Aaron, I'd like to say that, I mean, with the patch on that you have going right now, and you know your description of your superhuman vision that you're telling me out of your left eye, I mean, it fits the bill, man. You've got bionic eyes coming, huh? You at least got one at least right now, huh?
Oh yeah, it is like bionic vision. I mean, I just need one of those little camera things that, kind of little red circles that come in and then
I was just thinking as I'm sitting here looking at you, I'm thinking I feel like I'm watching one of those dudes off the Borg on Star Trek.
I do look like the Borg right now. And especially with my glowing blue eyes since my glasses are reflecting my computer.
That's great.
Man.
Well, Aaron, I'm real glad for you. I'm super pumped that you're going to have such great vision. I mean, that vision absolutely affects your shooting. Now, I agree. You only have to have, so much clarity on your sights if you are doing your job. I'm just talking about anybody in general, doing the nice trigger press well. It gets past vision, but vision absolutely does affect how well you can shoot.
Well, and it goes back to our dot focus this last year. That was one thing that overcame a lot of my vision issues. Now, I mean, I'm looking forward to see if I get as much of a performance increase from this as I did from the dot. I think I am, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to trying out my new bionic eyes. Get this pirate patch off. And that's another thing. I can't. There's such a disparity between how much my right eye needs to be corrected compared to my left that I can't wear these glasses. They made these for me to wear with my computer as I was waiting for my eye to get fixed on Monday, my right eye. Mm-hmm. Dude, I cannot use them because it literally, one eye, it looks like I'm seeing about a foot forward than the other.
Oh, wow.
And it's just like complete double vision, and my brain can't reconcile them. So,
oh yeah, you're definitely having some havoc on your brain trying to figure out what distance is what. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
well, Aaron, I gotta go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and then we'll move on from my eye stuff. But anyone out there that is maybe thinking about maybe getting LASIK or something like that, or even putting off cataract surgery. I'm only 48. We're only 48. This was a special kind of early onset. It wasn't a normal kind of cataract, but nonetheless, I had to have them fixed because my vision was going downhill fast. But if you've got the opportunity to have your eyes fixed, man, I think it's going to be some of the best money I've ever spent.
Oh, I'm sure. Quality of life increase, right?
Oh yeah, and again, they are telling me that my vision should be fixed for the rest of my life.
That's amazing, man.
Pretty cool.
You're going to be an old 90 or 100-year-old dude with perfect vision, and
shooting master class. And
well, Aaron, I do have one quick question, and we can get on to the content. I'm assuming you're having to take or use eye drops with antibiotics and steroids?
Yes, to cut down the inflammation of my cornea. And yeah, that was one thing. When I saw the doctor for a follow-up yesterday, she was real excited about how fast my eyes my eye was healing. And she said, you may end up with 20/15 vision in that
awesome.
eye.
Very cool.
So yeah, but that's the part is I'm waiting to see if when the swelling goes down on my cornea, if it allows me to still run iron sights.
Well, I hope it does, man. Yeah,
me too. It won't be the end of the world, but I sure would like to run irons, especially teaching students that are running iron sights.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you may recall though, man, those when I had my eye surgeries for keratoconus, for strengthening my corneas, man, I didn't do well on those antibiotics. They don't know if it was antibiotics or if it was the steroids or the suspension agent. Yeah, man, that stuff threw me for
you
a
had
loop.
you had a bad reaction to those eye drops.
Yeah, Aaron, but it wasn't it. You know, it wasn't actually what it did to my eye. It started causing some intracranial pressure, and it caused some weirdness. I had some panic attacks for a while. It was kind of crazy.
Bummer.
But I'm done with that. But
Well, and that keratoconus, maybe some people have heard us mention this, but the day before you joined the Army, they almost kept you out of the Army because of that, didn't they?
yeah, it was actually my first week of reception. Yeah, they were kicking me out. I was like, oh no, what am I doing now? You know, because that was part of my life plan.
Bro,
So-
and of course, how awesome your military and work with the military now as a civilian. How awesome of a career that's been.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I owe everything, my lifestyle, I owe to the Army. Absolutely.
Cool.
Well, cool, man. Well, so, ladies and gentlemen, in this gear and mindset bonus episode, we're going to be talking about negligent discharges and negative outcomes and how to prevent them. And Aaron and I are going to go over some mindset cues, simple tactics, and you might call most of those lifestyle habits. They're less tactics than lifestyle habits. But these are just little mantras and, mental cues that can help keep you and your loved ones safe. So we're kind of looking forward to doing a couple of iterations of these, if not continuing to do them.
Yeah,
So,
because there's nothing ground shaking. A lot of our audience will have heard these things before, but I'll tell you, it helps to be reminded of them. And when you're driving down the road, you might hear some of this stuff and go, "Well, you know what? I've been kind of bad about that." So
Yep.
thanks for the reminder. It's,
all of us that are in this walk, sometimes we need a mental reminder of certain things that we kind of let slide. And let's face it as well, Aaron, just hearing something in our head could ultimately save ourselves, from danger.
Certainly.
Or, be one step ahead of that person's OODA loop or OODA loop, pardon. So yeah, man, with that said, Aaron, I think maybe we should move into this article about negative outcomes. What do you think?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
So a little shout out to Claude Werner and his blog, The Tactical Professor. If you guys aren't subscribed to The Tactical Professor, I really recommend that you do that. And I'll add this. Again, us serious on this walk, it's a good idea to go ahead and find a lot of these good blogs and peruse them weekly, because there's a lot of good information. Wouldn't you agree? Like, say, Greg Ellifritz, his blog, and the cool thing about his blog is that it gives you all kinds of other blogs that you can save, and frankly, I'll bring this up. I have an RSS feed. It's called Feedly, and so I have all these blogs I put in Feedly, and then I open up and I see all the new articles that are on these blogs. So I don't have to necessarily go to each individual blog. I just go to my Feedly app and they're there for me. So that's a kind of another tip. So going back to the article we were going to discuss again, this is off of the Tactical Professor blog, and it is called Serious Mistakes, Unintentional Discharges, Part 3. Now, Claude posted this October 5th, 2021, and I've had this saved as a topic to discuss for a little while. He cites the original article was in an Atlanta news outlet called 11 Alive. So with that said, the headline reads, "Teen finds mom shot to death after stray bullet hits her in her sleep." Police said the 22-year-old neighbor told them that he had an accidental discharge while he was loading his firearm. His attorney, Jeff Slills, said his client that is, was cleaning his 9mm pistol at the time. Now, Aaron, I'll say this. You probably agree with me. Unless it was an equipment malfunction, it wasn't accidental, right?
Negligent.
Yeah, it was negligent. His attorney said he didn't have a magazine in it, but he was cleaning it, and apparently there was a bullet in the chamber and accidentally discharged it, and it went through the wall. So this is in an apartment. So, that's a bad outcome. And I'll speak further on this. This gentleman didn't even know that he had harmed or killed this person next door. He just thought it was damage to the wall.
Wow.
So, yeah. And very, very sad. Back to the article. My colleague, Chuck Haggard, we all love Chuck Haggard, man. Great dude. Shout out to him. Made the comment, I see people use random walls as a safe direction way too often. And I'm going to count myself in that, Aaron. And I think those of us that were new to firearms, and even though we had training, I think there's this thought process that a safe direction is just not pointing it at somebody, right? I think, granted, I know most of us think about, what's beyond that wall, but I think that's something we see way too often is a safe direction, just pointed at anywhere that it's not pointing at someone isn't necessarily a safe direction. So he says, I believe it was Masad Ayub who said many years ago that the only reasonable safe direction in an apartment or motel is the bowl of a toilet. Can you hear Masad Ayub saying that? Yes. French word for toilet. Yeah, exactly. The combination of water, porcelain, and pipes are far more bullet resistant than 2 sheets of drywall. Shooting it would be a mess, but less likely to kill someone else than sending a bullet through a wall into an adjacent unit. The man who fired the shot has been charged with involuntary manslaughter and reckless conduct. Odds are that he'll do some prison time. So much for the idea of joining the Navy and becoming a diver. And that was in the original article on 11 Live that I read. The guy had plans to join the Navy and become a diver. So, the life of this family is shattered, and his is shattered too, It's hard to imagine what life will be for the son who found his mother dead. Let's face it, a close-range bullet wound to the head was probably an ugly wound. That's a psychological scar that will likely be with him the rest of his life. So this is an example of why I believe the commonly taught sequence of magazine out, then clear the chamber is incorrect. I lock the gun open first, then remove the magazine, and finally visually and physically check the chamber for no ammunition. The magazine is not the source of ammunition, it's the source of the follow-on ammunition. The chamber is the source of the fireable ammunition and should be dealt with first, but that's just me. That's from the article. I'm not saying I disagree with Claude on that at all. I mean, he's way more experienced at this than us, but I still, it's habit for me to remove the magazine first. But either or, if you have it habitual, is definitely going to work. And essentially, he kind of closes out that there are so many negative outcomes that will result from one serious mistake. I want him to really highlight that. That's all touched on it takes. Go ahead.
Yeah, you touched on, just some of the almost the first handful that you would know about, but that the mother, the son, the scarred life, and then that young man's life being ruined, and
second and third and fourth order effects is most assuredly what happens after an incident like this, unfortunately, this tragedy. So with that said, Aaron, let's go ahead and talk about what we think are some safe directions and what we use ourselves. I'll just point out My safe handling location is in my closet where my level 4 body armor is. And the cool part about this location is, of course, when I'm dry firing my actual carry firearm, or let's say my active carbine, then I'm unloading it in my closet. I got a big walk-in closet that separates between a bathroom and my dry fire dojo, which is in my bedroom. Why is that important? We want to keep all live ammunition out of our dry fire space. And having that barrier is in my opinion, a real important step in keeping me from making a bad mistake. Even with all our training, we're all human, so it's a good idea to have those additional steps. Wouldn't you agree, Aaron?
Most certainly.
So my safe handling area is in my closet, and I point my muzzles towards my body armor. And so I think that's a very good choice. How about when we're on the road, Aaron? You and I travel a lot with firearms, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I'll give a big shout out to Tom Givens. I think he's got a good recommendation too. The air conditioner in a hotel is going to do a good job of stopping around as well. So that's now at least. Go ahead.
We're talking about the newer kind of AC that's kind of up under the window, and is that what we're talking about?
Yeah,
the coil in it, right?
Yeah, and just all the parts in there, all the metal. But the reality is we really want to minimize handling our firearm inside a hotel anyway.
Good point.
Right?
Good point. Yeah.
So I start thinking a lot more serious about that. And when I'm in hotels, I mean, if I don't have to handle my firearm, I try not to. A firearm in a holster is nearly, probably gonna break the internet saying this, it's nearly inert, right, when it's in its holster. So that's where I like to try to keep it in most cases where I don't have a safe background. So
sure. Well, if you want me to dig in here too,
absolutely.
I will. So at home, where I dry fire is in my bedroom, and it's at a wall that is actually a brick external wall, and even so, it points completely away from the rest of my house. So that's a really good wall. I do the same thing, keeping live ammunition out of the room. And luckily, my training gun and my dry fire gun is just that. I rarely carry my training gun, which is a Glock 17 MOS with a dot on it, right? So I rarely have to unload and reload, etc., for dry fire. But of course, I go through the steps of clearing that pistol every single time. But
yeah. Oh, go ahead, Aaron.
You go ahead, because I have one more point to make. And
all I was going to add, Aaron, is that when we are dry firing and we go through that process, if we have anybody interrupt us, you need to go through the clearing process again.
Yeah.
Because again, that's where a lot of people have had mistakes, is when they get interrupted and they start to go about their business. They load up their firearm, not really thinking about it, and then they go grab it for one last rep, and bam, So why we want to make sure that we go through that full protocol. And once we unload our firearm in a safe area, load our firearm when we're done with practice, say to ourselves, dry fire practice is over, load it, put it in the holster or put it in the safe, and leave it alone. So we want to abide by those protocols. Well, I really didn't. Go ahead, Aaron.
And so it's kind of cogent here to talk about, when you were talking about hotel rooms, I stayed at this real seedy hotel in Kansas to go to that Tom Givens and instructor development class. And there are a couple of police officers that were in the hotel along with me, and they kept talking about the guy that was running the place had cameras watching us all when we were in our hotel rooms.
Aaron, were these police officers also in the class?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So yeah, we would talk about we would make jokes about them filming us, each night. So, but on that
that one movie, yeah, I forget what
exactly
the name of it was. That was creepy.
My wife said the same thing. She goes, Aaron, if you turn the TV on and you see a picture of yourself waving at the TV, get the heck out of there.
Yeah. as we say it, pop smoke.
Yeah, pop smoke. That's good. Well, but in all seriousness, in that hotel, it was pretty awesome because I'll tell you what, I was doing some dry fire. And what was awesome is my hotel room had a concrete wall that I could use as a backstop.
Awesome.
I don't think I've ever been to a hotel room with a concrete. Hey, I mean, even though it was a weird hotel, I think the Lord led me there. Since I was studying and dry firing for a Tom Givens class, he gave me a concrete wall. So pretty sweet. That's
pretty cool. And man, it's so interesting thinking about you and I taking that class. We took it at separate times, but it's exactly what I was doing, man. Was dry firing in the hotel and getting that study on. So that's pretty cool.
I didn't do a ton of dry fire.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Mainly study.
Yep.
But yeah, along the lines of that class too, and something that I took from the second, I think it was the lecture on the day of the exam. That was the best lecture of the whole class.
I agree.
And there was at one point where he was talking about safety, and I'm going to teach Tom's class here, but one thing that he really rammed home was that a firearm gets set down. You check it again. It now becomes a loaded gun that you need to clear. You see somebody clear that gun and they set it down on the table. You pick it up. It's now your responsibility. It's a loaded gun. Make sure you clear it. Yep. So I thought that was, pretty good to hear.
Yeah, I think to summarize, excellent points, Aaron. The main point behind this is that we want to take the extra precautions and have the mental process of making sure that we're unloading and loading firearms in an absolute safe direction that can contain a round. If for some reason, and I didn't point this out earlier, some audience members may be thinking, well, if I don't have my finger in the trigger, then there's going to be no round cooked off. Well, unfortunately, it is very much a black swan event, but it doesn't happen very often. You can have equipment malfunction and you can have, ammunition malfunctions that could cause that to happen. So you just got to be mindful that there are other reasons other than you pressing a trigger, although remote, is something that you have to consider.
Well, and being not concerned with where that pistol is pointed just because you have your finger in the trigger. I mean, you're not thinking about one of the cardinal rules, which is don't cover anything with that muzzle that you aren't willing to kill or destroy. I like throwing that kill in there.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a good point, Aaron. Well, cool, man. So you want to segue into our mental cues section?
Yeah, it sounds good. I just want to remind people these are things you probably heard, but good reminders. So
yeah, and we're gonna have more of these. And what my plan is, Aaron, is just to compile these in one location. Of course, we love our show notes. I think it's a valuable source for our listeners and ourselves to go back to. So we'll definitely have all of this in the show notes, including the article from Claude's blog. So going into these mental cues and tactics and lifestyle choices. So let's go ahead and start with probably one of the most important. When you're in a gas station parking lot, if you're getting fuel, if you're between your vehicle and the entrance of the gas station or convenience store, frankly, these are some of the most dangerous areas statistically are parking lots of any place in public, especially big box stores, Walmart, Big Lots, Sam's, whatever it may be. These are where a high percentage of crime takes place. So we need to be extra vigilant when we're in these locations. And I'll add as a subsection of this, transitional spaces. These parking lots have lots of transitional space. And what's transitional space? Anywhere where you're moving between two, what you would consider safer areas, from your vehicle to the inside of your house, is definitely transitional space. And I'll add this, Aaron, I think a lot of people, if they open their garage and enter their garage, they immediately kind of go into condition white when they walk inside that garage. I don't know about you, Aaron, but I like to try to pay attention if I do that. I try to go in my front door, but there are times when I enter through my garage, and man, I'm looking behind me when I'm closing that door, because we also know that's very common for criminals to stake out people coming home. And that gives the garage door closing gives them a buffer. And so that's something to really keep in mind. That's a transitional space too. When you enter your garage, between your garage door and the entry door in your garage, that's a transitional space. Would you agree, Aaron?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, in these areas, you need to be very vigilant, have, your head up, your phone in your pocket, and paying attention to what people are doing around you. So, Aaron, what you got?
Well, this is one that is really important to me because I'm a father, and this I have to watch at my house, and that is keep your doors locked. Again, very simple. We've all heard it, but I can't remember the statistics, so I'm not looking it up right now, but we all know that more than likely home invasions actually occur through unlocked doors.
Yep.
It may not be the most used, but I think it is. Bare minimum.
Yeah, I believe you're correct, Aaron.
They're
looking for doors that are unlocked, and so they don't have to force their way in and make a bunch of noise.
Remember that article I sent you and Brian about those 3 men that walked in on a mother with her 1-year-old child, raped and killed her. It was an unlocked door.
Oh, just man,
freaking terrible.
And
but,
when you sent it, I read it, and it's important for us to read those stories, to be vigilant. And man, my blood was boiling, man.
Yeah. That's actually what made me think of making sure I threw this in there, was that particular story. Now, and if you're a parent like me, you got to police this, because I walk around my house and will find the back door unlocked, or the front door, or whatever, or the garage door open, and then the garage door into the house open, unlocked. And my mantra is, every time I catch, I go, okay, who left the door unlocked? I do not want to have to shoot somebody today. Please lock the door. And here's one more tip. Besides policing your doors when you've got kids coming in and out. Also, I got tired of the garage door being unlocked all the time, so I put in a automatic lock that has a code to it. So anytime anyone goes out that garage, it automatically locks in 90 seconds. And you can lock it behind you too, if you think about it. But I think that's
I noticed that when I was there, when we were hosting Cecil. I noticed that. That's a great idea, man. Especially for families that have younger kids or even teenagers that are notorious for doing that, for leaving it unlocked.
That's right.
So, Here's one important one that we've talked about on this show. That is, you cannot shoot somebody over property. And that includes your dog. And this is one thing I've mentioned before. Man, I can hear him snorting out there right now. My dog Brody, the pug Brody. I love that dog dearly. I tell you, if lethal force was being used on him, or he was, being attacked by someone for some whatever reason, or man, that's a tough decision. The fact is though, I could not use deadly force in that incident, right? Because dogs legally are seen as property. But more to the point is, a lot of people, they think when somebody's breaking into their car outside, they can run out there and, engage them with their blaster. And that's the recipe for going to jail for a long time. So, not trying to be a smart
or getting yourself shot, right?
Absolutely. No, that's the point, Aaron. I mean, as much training as we have, the bad guy has a vote, and sometimes they get lucky, and it's not worth it over property. That's like, especially if for some reason your awareness has lapsed, and you got a drawn weapon on you, and they're asking for your wallet. Probably just give them the wallet, So we've talked about that before too, but you may have to make a decision if there's malignant intent after that. So, I mean, you may still have to wait for your moment, and that's something we'll hit on another time, is waiting for your moment. I like to give credit to John Correa. He talks about that all the time, is waiting your turn, in situations like that.
Waiting your turn for that draw.
Yep. Mm-hmm. We'll hit on that a lot more heavy in a later episode as one of these as well. But yeah, you can't shoot people over property, and that's just something everybody needs to keep in your brain.
Well, and here's another one that a lot of newer gun owners don't seem to understand, because I'm going to give a plug for another really good show. Guys, we aren't proprietary here. We want the best information available to all our listeners, and a lot of the time that is on another show. So
a lot of them are our buddies as well. So
100%. I don't know these people quite yet, but it's called Self-Defense Gun Stories. Eric, I don't know if you've heard of that or not.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Really, really good show where they go down 4 instances of people using firearms for self-defense. And often it's people that will, when they hear something going on, they go and inspect, or, go and see what's going on. So
one-man SWAT team.
Yeah. And luckily, a lot of times on those shows, these people come out fine. But why put yourself in danger when you don't have to? So in other words, let's go back to the point. If you hear something go bump in the night, it's best to stay in your safe area, armed, and you wait for anyone to come to you, right? That is the
Absolutely.
safest. That is get to cover if you can, but there's no reason for you to look for someone in your house. And I'm sure that people that have taken Craig Douglas's AMIS know very well how dangerous that can be.
Well, Aaron, if I could add to that, of course, and you were probably going to hit on this, so if I stole your thunder, you especially, you have kids, right? Mm-hmm. So again, audience members, there are absolutely exceptions. We would just like to espouse this as probably being one of your best options,
if possible. Mm-hmm.
Yep. The situation dictates the tactic for sure. But if you got kids, you're definitely going to have to clear the area between your room and getting to your children. You need to do that safely. But you don't need to clear the rest of the house. Get your kids to your safe area. Get them in an area away from you as well. That's another factor. If when my son was in the house, I mean, if anybody was going to take rounds, I want it to be me and not them, not my son and my wife. But
Excellent
yeah,
point,
so
brother. Yeah, that's all I was going to say too. For me, I don't have the luxury of nestling down in my room with the door locked, but I'm definitely gonna have to go out there and get to my boys and get them back to my safe area, or maybe get to their rooms and stay safe right there. But
that may be a good option for you. Maybe even getting the hell out of one of their windows too.
Oh, 100%. Definitely.
Well, Aaron, I'm going to say this one last point on that is that, man, I have some damn good high ground in my house because our bedroom is on the second floor. And, man, I've got a decent night light that lights up the area right before the threshold of the door, which in the vernacular of clearing or dealing with inside a structure, that door is the fatal funnel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I can have light that's lighting up anybody that will be coming to that fatal funnel in my doorway, and they can't see me. They can't see where I'm at behind some cover. And I've got the high ground, and I got a good ambush point there. So just wanted to point that out as well.
Excellent. Well, what do you got, buddy?
So for the last one, so this is straight up John Farnham's rule of stupid. And I'm sure you've heard this one before.
Yeah.
Don't go to stupid places with stupid people at stupid times to do stupid things. You're probably going to live the rest of your life without any trouble if you
do
follow
that.
Yeah, so I thought that'd be a good way to close out that segment. He's been an awesome contributor to the community, so I figured we could close it with that.
That sounds excellent. And I'll tell you what, we need to hear all these things too and get them in our minds too. So I'm glad we decided to touch on these. Now, Eric, one thing I wanted to say, we were going to make this, of course, since this is one of our bonus episodes, this isn't going to be a super long episode, but here before we go, I wanted to make sure I implored our audience. I wanted to first say this. We've recently got some really, really cool metrics on our show. And Eric, I believe I counted it that we have audience members and downloads in about 80 countries.
Yep.
Just all
That's
over
correct.
the world. It's really cool. Of course, it's the internet. Anyone can reach you. But to see, people in Egypt and in South Africa and South America and Japan, all parts of Europe, it's really cool to see who we're reaching and where. But I just want to say, we really could use some more ratings and reviews. So all of you out there, all over the world, we get to say now, right? Do us a favor and go to iTunes where you listen to podcasts and sweep down. And number one, give us a rating. We only accept 5-star ratings. I'm sorry, but that's your only choice. And then give us some feedback. Give us a review and let us know what you like, what you don't like. And we love hearing from you guys. So, and then, of course, make sure you share with your friends and family because we believe this is great information to help keep people safe.
Well, awesome, Aaron. Well, Aaron, if I could mention one quick, I'd like to mention Origin's affiliate link that we have. We won't go deep into the sponsorship spills, but again, if you're getting something out of this show and you need jiu-jitsu gear, clothing, Jocko fuel supplements, go to that affiliate link that's in the show notes. And if you purchase anything, we get a percentage of that, which really helps us because we're not trying to get rich off of this podcast by any stretch, but we got to keep the lights on, keep the podcast subscription, all that stuff that starts to add up. So if you feel inclined and you want to help us out, that's one way you can. So yeah, feel free to go out there and do that.
And then make sure you go and visit our other sponsors. I'll just say both of them, which would be Tenacor and then Keeper's Concealment. Both great holster companies. We actually use both. I think maybe some people might wonder, why do you guys have two holster companies as sponsors? Because they're both some of the best holsters in the business, and we use them both. Yep. So yeah, all good guys. So
yeah, and the links to their websites and the affiliate links will be in the show notes.
Sounds good, buddy.
Well, man, this has been fun, man. I think we should go ahead and call it an evening. What do you think?
Sounds great, buddy. You have a good one. And hey, I look forward to sending out this next episode after this one. It's a good one.
It's going to be fun. Have a good one, Aaron. Good night, man.